let's do a quick review of base. So when Liam balls up, if we were doing jiu-jitsu, he's worried about I'm gonna attack him. He's gonna get his elbows in tight and everything like that. That makes it harder for me to attack, but that gives him less base on the ground, right? Especially if we draw an X from shoulder to hip, and we remember those angles, and I apply pressure at this angle, he becomes fairly easy to turn over. Once his hip goes past his ankle at this angle right here, I'm gonna get a turnover. But he's doing that because he doesn't want me to jump on him and get hooks, obviously. But if we just focus solely on base, he's not worried about me attacking him, then he's gonna want a wide base with his frames. And what you're gonna see here, his frames go out past the silhouette of his body. We'll call this silhouette theory. This is from Coach Frankel. And the further his frames go from his silhouette, generally the more base he's gonna have. And you'll notice where his posts are. His posts are at those angles, right? So the skinny X right here is blocked. I can't get his hip past his ankle because his ankle's over here. I can't get his shoulder past his wrist because his wrist is over here. So that's good base. So he's hard. If the game was just try and push or pull him over, he's much harder to deal with here than when he's balled up, right? Okay. So understand how that works. So if you look here, when I step like I would for boxing, my feet are almost within the silhouette of my shoulders, right? Especially if you're an athlete and have bigger shoulders. You can see, so if I look at Liam stand here, and he just takes a normal step, has his hands up like he's boxing, see his feet are almost within the silhouette. Look at that line right there. And what that means is he's easier for me to push and pull off to the side. So when we step, when we're grappling in the clinch, we're stepping out. When I step back, I'm stepping out. And what's important is my feet are outside the silhouette of my shoulders, okay? And I'm gonna rotate that foot out a little bit. Hickson talks about it as a box. If you look at the lines on the mat, this foot's here, it's almost a perfect box, and then I'm here, okay? So now when Liam takes that posture, you can just see if you look, here's the silhouette of his body. His posts are outside the silhouette. He's much harder to move that way. And when we're talking about clinch, we're talking about grabbing each other and pushing each other offline and affecting each other's base. That's the name of the game. So you're gonna wanna stand like this. So the first thing is just practicing that. We no longer wanna be stepping. Second thing is your hips. Okay, so when I step like this, if my hips go parallel like this, or diagonal, again, my base is off. Think about every sport where they're trying to knock each other back. Football, sumo. Sumo immediately comes to mind. Sumo is the ultimate sport about base, right? When they line up, their hips are always facing each other, whether we're talking about football on a three-point stance on the line or sumo. So when I'm stepping forward diagonally, back diagonally, I want to keep my hips forward. Always like this, right? Howder calls it like, I think he called it like radar, a radar dish or whatever. But your hips are this way, not here, okay? So my base is much weaker here than here. As soon as I make that adjustment, I have better base. So now Liam steps, but he keeps his hips forward. Good. This is much better.